Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to this new episode of Sudan in Focus weekly news magazine, which focuses on Sudan news and events, aims to give the Sudan TV audience a broad and first-hand information about what is going on in Sudan. So let's go.
Rapid support forces attack on convoy kills scores of civilians. At least 120 people, mostly civilians, were killed in attack by the rapid support forces on a civilian convoy in North Darfur on Wednesday, according to military sources. The convoy, escorted by a recently formed neutral force comprising members of Sudanese Liberation Army and the Gathering of Liberation Forces, was traveling near Kabkabia when it attacked. Sources told Retain that the rapid support forces targeted civilians based on their ethnicity, accusing them of supporting the armed groups. Among the victims were people seeking medical treatment in Chad. The rapid support forces also reportedly took prisoners and looted goods. The neutral force commended the attack as a cowardly act, treachery, and vowed to hold the rapid support forces accountable. It warned that such attacks could lead to uncontrollable anger and further escalate the conflict. The rapid support forces, for its part, blame an unnamed third party for the attacks, accusing it of attempting to widen the war. This incident follows similar attack in March 2024, where the rapid support forces attacked a Sudan Liberation Army convoy, resulting in casualties and the destruction of vehicles. The rapid support forces admitted to that attacks, attributing it to a mistake. Jubilation after Sudanese army retakes a strategic city near Khartoum. Widespread celebrations were reported on Sunday in Wad Madani, a regional capital on the Blue Nile River, about 85 miles, 135 kilometers southeast of the capital Khartoum. Following the retakes of the city by the Sudanese armed forces, the army has been making steady advances in the area in recent weeks, with Madani holds immense strategic importance, positioned at the crossroads of key supply routes between several states and serving as the nearest major city to Khartoum. An independent news agency broadcasting via satellite, shortwave radio and internet. The capital remains a focal point of the conflict, with fires fighting continuing since the war erupted in April 2023. The Jazeera Monitor, Sudanese human rights group, reported that the army freed a large number of the prisoners in appalling condition after they were denied access to food and medical treatment during their detention. The rapid support forces made further advances towards Khartoum on Sunday, according to reporting by Sudan Tribune. Wad Madani is vitally important. محمد البلال, Sudanese analyst and co-founder of Khartoum Kitchen, said in a series of posts on the social media platform, explaining why the celebrations you are seeing across Sudan are justified. The Wad Madani city locality is ordinary home to 7,000 people. Its celebration is a huge deal for its people, of course, but its strategic importance means today's celebrations is significant for the entirety of the 50 million people who live in Sudan. Wad Madani isn't just a capital of Jazeera state, It is the administration of Wazir scheme, which is backbone of Sudan's agriculture sector. The rapid support forces control of Wazir state led to the first comprehensive failure of the farming scheme since it was established a century ago. The liberation of Wad Madani and the prospect of getting the scheme back operating will have significant impact for a country facing the real prospect of wide-scale famine. Wad Madani is also the base army's 1st Infantry Division. The division is responsible for securing Al Jazeera, which is the 2nd most populous state in Sudan with 6 million plus residents, also happens to be one of the smallest army divisions and least battle prepared. Sudan rejects United States Treasury Department sanctions on President Burhan. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, chairman of the Transitional Sovereignty Council of the Republic of Sudan, left Muhammad Hamdan Dagalo Hamiti, commander of the Rapid Support Forces. Port Sudan government of Sudan has announced its rejection and condemnation of the sanction imposed by the United States Treasury Department on President of Transitional Sovereignty Council, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs considered in a statement on Thursday that the decision lacks the simplest foundation of justice and objectivity and is based on flimsy pretexts that have no connection to reality. It also includes gross disdain for the Sudanese people who stand in their entirety behind General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan as a symbol of their sovereignty and armed forces and encourages leader of the battle of dignity against the terrorist Janjaweed changes. The statement said, "It's strange that this suspicious decision came after the United States administration concluded that the Rapid Support Forces militia is committing genocide in Sudan." It said, therefore, the decision of the administration days before the end of its mandate to impose sanctions on the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, which defends the Sudanese people in the face of the genocide plot, expresses nothing but confusion and weak sense of justice.
The Kushite pyramids in Sudan are characterized by the presence of the funerary chamber and the method of building. We also find that the pyramid of Nuri, to which burial was transferred and which were not far from the Kuru area. And the most prominent pyramid discovered there are Taharga and Aspelta. There is a group of pyramids such as Barkal and Norsan, which include a gilded pyramid for Queen Amni Shikhto. The Kushite pyramids were advanced in terms of construction, then to a pyramid in symmetry. After that, burial moved to Jabal Barkal, then to the southern Pajarawiya, then to the North Pajarawiya in Marawi. And the map of the Kushite Meroitic civilization sites include Marawi, Karnub, Mayu Mountain, Second Waterfall, Karma, Parka, Nuri, and researchers have confirmed that there are significant differences in archaeological sites, but modern excavation and evidence have proven that Nafta was the religious center, while the political center and weight of this civilization was for Marawi during the 2nd to 4th century AD. Kush is derived from the Meroitic civilization, and there is also the Karma kingdom, which is the first Kush civilization that preceded the Meroitic civilization period, and is considered one of the greatest civilizations in the African continent because it was based on mud construction, which was rare at that time. And this civilization flourished remarkably in the waterfall area, and the most prominent monuments that were discovered in that area were represented by the fortified fortresses, houses, and tombs because it was considered a mount of cultural and commercial trade between Marawi and other countries that cooperated with it in terms of trade. As for the shape of the graves and the method of burial in the kingdom of Karma, it was done in a longitudinal manner by placing the dead person in the squatting position, in addition to the offerings that were placed with him in the grave according to what the excavation showed during the burial, as their servants were buried with them while they were alive, in addition to placing pottery, food, drinks, and cow heads.
زيدان إبراهيم was born in Omdurman al-Mawrada. He was studied at the Eastern Kadugli Primary School in the current state of South Kordofan and moved from there to Beit al-Amana School and then to Al-Arab Al-Wusta neighborhood. The secondary school was at Omdurman Al-Ahliya School and spent a year studying at Institute. His singing talent emerged at an early age, so he did not continue his education after high school and went toward singing and was apprenticeship by the late Ismail Abdul Mu'in for 3 years. His father, Ibrahim Zaidan, was a government employee working as head of accounts and moved ex officio from location another. Zaidan is the first childhood in the city of Malakal, South Sudan, after his father was transferred from the management of account of the Malakal Council to the city of Kadugli to work in the management at the account of the Rural Council. They then grew up alone with his parents and he had no brother, just like his father, who died at an early age in 1956. And he had no sibling after the death of his father. The family returned with Zaidan to Omdurman. Zaidan's singing talent emerged early during the school stage, where he composed school songs and sang in the school Cedar. At that time, he learned to play the oud instrument and joined musical association musician. He initially found encouragement from the school administration before he was later chosen between the school and the art of singing was his choice. His star began to shine as a performer of other people's songs in a unique and beautiful voice until the Tijani Al-Andalib. They then appeared on Sudanese radio in the program's shape and colors presented by Ahmed Al-Zibair in which they then sang the song Feelings. He then appeared on Singing Square in Sudan, where he began dealing with song bots, composed and musicians, including musician علاء الدين حمدة, السني الضوي, and Abdul Latif Khidr directly. In 1963, Zaidan submitted to Kambadi to leave voice on Sudanese radio, which include Hassan الزبير and Burai Muhammad Dafallah. The reporter of the Kambadi's Noom Bushra, his voice was approved as a recorded singer, which means publishing his singing work on the air through Sudanese radio, and the radio was the first recorded to him in 1967, which means more than love. And then he recorded songs continue. Zaidan is known for performing concerts at private churches such as wedding and public events. In 1969, he recorded in radio studios the song Saki Union by the Egyptian poet Ibrahim Naji, which made him famous among the audience of the art of singing in Sudan. Zaidan dealt with a number of lyrical spots, mostly notably Awad Ahmed Khalifa in Song After You, My Dar Babikir At-Tahir. Sharaf ad-Din sang Tonight There. At-Tijani Haj Musa in Bab al-Reda in Sadda, and Umar al-Sha'ir and Muhammad Jahfar Usman and Abdul Wahab Hilawi and Dasugi Muhammad Khair and Mustafa Abdul Rahim and Mahdi Muhammad Said and Burai Ahmed and Azmi Ahmed Khalil. Zaidan has a strong performance of text and most of his songs in Sudanese Arabic dialect, but they also sang classical Arabic. Mablong Bomb by the poet Ibrahim Naji. Supporters of the school of romance in the Sudanese singing, and one of artists who had the experience of the video song in Sudan. Egypt was the first destination outside Sudan performed concert in 1971, and then traveled to several countries to perform concerts including Libya, Syria, Lebanon, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Chad, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, Yemen, Bahrain, Djibouti, Netherlands, Germany, Greece, and the United States of America. Zaidan songs, Treasure of Love, All the Things Are Not From Me, The Age of the Years, The Lord of Friends, Eyelash, The World of Love, Captive of Your Beauty. Nice what we asked, Palace of Longing, Palace of Longing, instead meditating, instead confused. Finally, Zaidan Ibrahim, the late artist, was honored last year as the only artist adhering to the Federation regulation and preserving the rights of the General Federation of Musical Professions. Zaidan Ibrahim died on Saturday, September 24, 2011 in the hospital in the Cairo, and was buried in the graves of Al-Haj Yusuf Al-Khurtum Bahri.
The United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, has expressed its readiness to contribute to economic recovery programs in Sudan, according to the programme's plan for the year 2025, which specifies a number of programs and activities, the most important of which are peace building and the rule of law, health and environment, and access to energy, with expected funding of about $55.5 million. The Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Jibril Ibrahim, identified the country's priorities in vital sectors of water, health, education, environmental health, and agricultural development, focusing on empowering communities and fostering resilience of the repercussions of war by restoring sustainable livelihoods, job opportunities, and income-generating projects. The minister expressed during his meeting with the UNDP representative in Sudan, Luca Rinda, in his office, with the participation of Undersecretary of Planning at the Ministry, Dr. Muhammad Bashar, and Director General of External Financing, his aspiration for the program to help Sudan address the problems of climate change and its impact on the environment, obtain clean energy, and use solar energy in drinking water stations in a number of states, in addition to paying attention to food security, pointing to the opportunities available in the Tokar Delta project and the necessity of rehabilitating it to contribute to building food security, agricultural development, and achieving economic security, calling on UNDP to foster the state's efforts in post-war reconstruction, purifying and sterilizing cities and preparing them for the return of citizens. For his part, Rinda expressed the UNDP readiness to coordinate with the government to provide assistance according to its plan for the current year in attracting external funding, technical assistance, capacity building, and training, indicating that the UNDP implemented projects in Sudan worth $44 million during the past year 2024, expecting to increase funding for the current year to about $55.5 million, pointing out the program's interest in supporting small producers, alleviating poverty, rehabilitating infrastructure, and financing rural development by taking advantage of financing windows available at the World Bank and the African Development Bank in coordination with other United Nations agencies, in addition to providing opportunities to benefit from technical assistance from different countries. Dr. Bashar stressed the importance of the UNDP assistance to Sudan to achieve the goals of sustainable development programs, support community resilience, and empower communities by improving the skills of groups and increasing sustainable income opportunities through small and medium industries, in addition to providing urgent humanitarian assistance to those affected by the war.
In Darfur, where there's smoke, there's usually fighting. And in some cases, the perpetrators make themselves known. Militiamen affiliated with the RSF proudly filming their ambush with smoke rising in the back. Scorched earth tactics used in the Darfur conflict of the early 2000s on display again. A team of investigators at the Center for Information Resilience have verified 180 individual fires that have impacted 108 villages since war broke out between the army and the RSF in mid-April 2023. An analysis by Sky's data and forensics team found that over a quarter had been targeted more than once.
There is a clear pattern that suggests that these fires are conflict related. What we've also seen is that it's not just settlements being targeted, but there is also frequent fires at IDP camps, which would result in double displacement and people having to leave again.
Have you ever seen anything like this, Sanook?
But this scale, we haven't, I have personally not seen this before, which of course is difficult to quantify in that sense. Scorched earth tactics are not necessarily a new phenomenon, but the way that they are being rolled out is shocking.
Settlements in West and South Darfur have been the worst hit, with our analysis showing many were burnt again, even after the rapid support forces took control. Satellite images of Mestere in West Darfur appear to show most of the town being systematically destroyed by fire since October last year. But even before then, we watched from the border as fires ravaged the town and civilians fled gunfire. In North Darfur, the holdout state, there's an ongoing fight for power. Recent fires have been from army airstrikes. This one killed at least 9 people and left 12 families homeless. Nermat tells us they have no water, no food, and no place to live. She says they're gathered on the ash and burnt remains of their homes with nowhere to go, hoping for help. Just one example of the tragedies fueling the largest displacement crisis in the world. A single fire destroying a neighborhood, and a blaze of fires destroying a nation.
Mangrove trees are considered as one of the economic, environment and tourism importance that can play a major role in our community. Mangrove located along the Red Sea coast in Sudan, there are a lot of forests on seasonal essentials. Along the Red Sea coast, which surrounded by coral reefs, that considered as the marine environment ecosystem for the marine organism and wild creatures which feed on the mangrove trees, and it has nutritious substances that comes from the Red Sea mountains chain that can provide protection for the marine organisms beside the seashores from the corrosion. The tree leaves of the mangrove use it for treating gum and liver in addition to feed wild animals, also used in making houses, pots and absorption carbon gases. Mangrove trees located in southern Sawakin in Haydub Port and Kalanayeb district. The heat of the mangrove trees ranges between 5 milli to 12 milli that can preserving the environment biodiversity. Mangrove trees provide fertile environment for many fish to grow.